Okay, um, I'm going to start off. Today's is January 20th, 2026. I'm going to start off this Bitcoin price analysis with a short clip from the recording of my previous Bitcoin price analysis from January 15th, so about 5 days ago. And we'll just play about less than a minute of this just so we pick up where we left off. Are we going to maybe close above it? Are we going to come down, find support on this daily BISI? Oops. Let me fix that. Daily BISI and then go higher. And support in this daily BISI would also be support in this newly created bullish order block, right? When we closed above the open of these down closed candles, we formed this as a new bullish order block. And is that what's going to happen? And if that's the case, then I would expect that we've reversed from this bearish trend and we've begun onto the buy side of a market maker buy model heading up. What I was the specific part I was looking at was this weekly SIBI. We're on the daily chart, so it doesn't look so neat. But also there's the daily SIBI right inside the weekly SIBI. Are we going to find support on this daily SIBI here, and then move higher, closing higher using this daily SIBI over here? This is a BISI, sorry, as support to continue higher, or are we going to go lower to new all-time highs? If we kind of stumble over here and we start to see chop, maybe come down, fill this in, come back up, and we start to do some of what we saw over here in this section here, we start to see that over here, then it could very well be that we are heading back down, and we will, after all, take out the November low. So I don't know which one it will be, but this is what I'm looking for in my analysis. Let's just drop to the 4-hour, and this obviously is not very significant when we're looking at the higher time. All right, let's now close this and look at the live chart. Here's the live chart. Let's go to weekly. So in the last 5 days, right? In the previous video, if you watch it, we were up in this area and it was looking like a strong weekly candle. We had this weekly BISI, which was inverted, forming a bearish inversion. And then we had this bearish SIBI over here. And what I was showing you is that if we have a weekly close above this or a daily close above the daily SIBI, which we'll see in a minute, and then we come back down and then start moving upwards, then I would expect that we're going to see new all-time highs before we ever see the November lows, if we ever do. However, we did not do that. That's not what happened. So last week we wicked up and we kind of just grabbed some liquidity there. We came almost up to the low of this week's low, right? Just shy of that, which is totally fine. But we did a, let's see, I'm curious, actually, I noticed this. The high on this candle is 97,938, and the high on this candle is 97,939. $1 off. And this is Bitcoin. This is not like every exchange has a slightly different price. So that's quite remarkable. So what we did is we went $1 higher than over here into the little bit of the imbalance above there. Okay. Anyway, so because that hasn't happened, and we'll see on the daily chart exactly what I'm looking for. Again, we're back to the scenario where I expect that we're going to see the November lows before we see new all-time highs. And if we see the November lows, that we come here, sorry, these are November lows over here. If we come down below November low, that means below 80,000, approximately 80,500, there's a really good chance that we're going to see, we're going to go below the April 2025 lows, which is the mid 70s. At that point, we'll have to see, do we expect that we're going to go even lower? We'll have to look at the chart and see what that looks like. Let's go down to the daily time frame. And here we're seeing the same thing, right? This was that SIBI over here. This was that low that I talked about in the last video. I do encourage you to watch it to learn what this is and why it's significant. We came back up into this is the weekly SIBI that you saw, and inside is a little bit darker because there's that daily SIBI over there. We came up into the daily SIBI and dropped right away. Now what I'm looking for, if we're going lower, right? Remember I said that when we closed above this, that was showing that made this into a bullish order block. We would then want to see if we test it and respect it. So far we've tested it and we've not respected it. So if this series of candles, daily candles, closes below the open of this series candles, I take that as a strong bearish signal. And what's also happened is that this BISI will have turned into a SIBI. Right now it's gray because it's undefined until the close of today's candle. If today's candle closes below the high of this candle here, right, that gap there, as long as today's candle closes below there, when we still have another 7.5 hours, that would make us strongly bearish. And in which case, I'm expecting, as I said on, I think it was 2 videos ago, that when we were chopping around over here, we were chopping around over here, I said that if we're going lower, I expect we're going to see a pretty fast move, maybe almost all the way down there. I don't know about all the way down, and then before we retrace and then come take it out. But as opposed to, it's probably more likely that we see a pretty kind of almost direct move lower with maybe a little bit of that, rather than kind of just a slow move lower. We didn't go straight lower. Instead, we went higher, and now we're coming lower. And now I still think that, what's the fastest way to delete these things? The problem is I don't use this much outside of recording, so apologies for the wasted time here. I still think that if we do close and we end up back in this range, then the most likely thing is a pretty fast move from approximately 85,000 down to 80,000. I expect that will be a pretty fast move. So looking at bearishness, again, the close of today's daily candle is significant. We have to wait for that to close. This is the 4 hour. On the 4 hour, we've already closed below kind of these some of these up close gaps, and we've closed below them on the 4 hour. So the 4 hour, we've already closed below the open of this whole leg up, very bearish, and it looks like we're going lower. So I would be surprised if the daily candle does not invert this daily BISI, buy side imbalance, sell side inefficiency, into a daily SIBI, from which we can probably expect that, that if this gray box becomes a SIBI, there's a good chance that we'll come a little bit lower. We'll probably retrace higher. I don't know how high, probably not even that high, but maybe up to there, and then come down.